Okay, Ron, you're on.
I'm on. I'm here.
You're here now.
Awesome. Well, my name is Ron Carlson. I am with Renovation Gurus. I am an investor first and a contractor second, and I am going to talk to you guys briefly about what Steve was talking about. We have a calculator that we created together. It's a simple Excel spreadsheet, and the purpose of it is to get you as close on a rehab as possible. You will still need to get a bid from your contractor, but this is to get you close so you can make your offer prior to doing your due diligence. I'm not sure if you can see my screen. Can you see everything right here, Steve?
Yes, we can see everything and your video as well.
Awesome. So the rehab calculator, we call it the 5-minute calculator. Once you get used to using it, it's going to take you about 5 minutes to run a property analysis on the rehab of a property. However, it takes me about 10 minutes to teach it. It consists mainly of two different portions. We have rule of thumbs, which is the first page right here, and then we have the 5-minute calculator on right here. The rule of thumbs is simply this: you just put in your square footage up here, and then it'll take and times your square footage by what we have as a rent ready, mid grade, and high end. Rent ready would be like, hey, you're a landlord, you're saving all the fixtures, you're just doing basic touch ups, basic paint touch ups, maybe you're replacing some of the carpet. The mid grade, we're gonna start adding like granite and laminate flooring, and then the high end is more like hardwood floors throughout the property. This is just a general calculator, so you throw in your square footage. Let's just say that you had a 1,200 square foot house, or it's always an odd number like 1,260. It would automatically just tell you, hey, you're probably looking at a minimum of 14,000 or 22,000, 26,000, depending upon the grade of rehab that you're looking at. Now that number is a general interior exterior cosmetic. It is not the things in the top five that go wrong a lot with the property: the roof, the foundation, HVAC system, plumbing, and electrical. So that would be included on top of this, but this is just a quick cosmetic rehab. Now, the next one we get into, the 5-minute calculator, if you just click on this button right here on this tab, that is going to break down the rehab a lot better and a lot faster. I'm going to kick this out and teach you how to use this. Most people that are on this call right now will get a copy of this somehow, some way. Steve typically will get it to you. We've edited this spreadsheet a couple times. The newest version we made red, white, and blue. The reason we did that is you do all the red columns first, you do all the white columns second, all of the blue columns third. On anything on the spreadsheet that you have questions on, you can there's a little red triangle right here. You can click on the red triangle and it will tell you what needs to go in every single one. So the very first thing we're going to do on our property, our subject property, is we're going to choose square footage, which is this green box on the top. For ease sake, let's just do 1,250 square feet. And then it gets real easy. We're going to go through, and all we're going to do is change anything in red to a 1 if we're going to do that on a property. For example, if we're going to do a roof, okay, that's going to be 1. Are we going to do foundation? Sure, that's going to be a 1. Let's just say that this property has a little bit of plumbing because we're doing the foundation, and you don't have to do anything. We'll do something with the HVAC unit too. So all I'm doing right now is I am literally up arrowing, down arrowing, pressing 1. If 1 is yes, 0 is no. So all I'm doing is saying, does the property need it or does the property not? And that's in the red column. So most people are going to paint the property. Most people are going to put floors in. Let's just assume that this is a lower house and we're not going to do hardwood floors. Not going to do anything crazy to it, but the house needs a lot of work, okay? So we're going to fix the exterior. We're going to change out the electrical plugins. We're going to do a little fence work. Let's say we have a couple broken windows, just the pane, but then we're going to replace a couple windows as well. The window pane here is glass only. It's just if it's a broken window. This one here is if you want to replace the full window completely. So got a couple exterior doors we're going to throw in there. We're going to put in a garage door. Right here you can see I have two different garage door items. I have garage door and garage door opener with electricity. A lot of times we see in a house that the property has no garage door opener at all. If it doesn't have a garage door opener, you have to drop a plug in there or a source of power there in order to get the garage door opener working properly. So that's what this next item is right here. I'm just going to keep it a 0, and let's just say that the garage doors work on this particular property. Hot water heater, let's say it's good. Let's remodel the bathrooms. Let's leave the electrical panel. Let's not mess with the walls at all. Let's not remove any popcorn ceiling. Let's do baseboards. Trash, you're always going to do at least 2 things of trash. A good rule of thumb for every $10,000 of rehab, you're going to need 1 trailer or 1 dumpster full of trash. Um, Even if you think it's just the smallest rehab in the world, I don't know how it happens, but a lot of trash will be left behind or will be at the property, and you're going to have to budget to dispose of it. Let's say that you're going to do lights and hardware, you're going to update the kitchen, you're going to do some appliances. Let's assume this house doesn't have a pool. We're not going to do any patio work, and then we're going to throw a little bit of landscaping work in there. So how it works is you go red, white, and blue. I just filled out all the red. All that is simple. 1 is a yes, a 0 is a no. And then we're going to go into the white and blue. So the white and blue columns, it's kind of like a faded gray right here, if you can see that. We had to do that just because of the form of the spreadsheet. I also have, we've done all of the red, and then now we're going to turn to white. So let's say that there was an item that you wanted to do that's not on my list. You can add it. I have a whole bunch of fields here that you can add. So let's say that you wanted to do some tree trimming, and you wanted to also do a sidewalk. So you can actually add what you want right there. One important thing to note is you do have to tell the spreadsheet that you're going to use these items. Okay, so red, white, and blue, let's go back up to the top. The white and the blue, they are changeable. The white, you can change it to anything that you want. The blue is a quantity change, and I'll get into that when we get to the blue section. So essentially how the spreadsheet works is you have a roof line right here. We are going to do the roof. The spreadsheet automatically calculates $3 a square foot. So it'll take the $1,250 times the $3, you get this number, and then it populates the total number of what the rehab is going to be on this particular property. But let's say that you had somebody out at the property and you knew the exact bid. Now, let's just say that you had some wind damage and it didn't need a whole roof, just a repair. So you can change the white to $500 and it'll automatically change the total in the calculator to $500. And same thing with the foundation. Let's say that you have a foundation bid and you can change it to the exact number, not 35,000, 3,500. You can change it to the exact number. If you buy a house with $35,000 of the foundation, you should probably walk away from it, just to let you know. And remember, if there's a 0, there's no need to change the number here, and there's no need to change the number in the white if that number is already correct, or if you're just looking for a guesstimate on your bid. Plumbing, let's just say that the number came in right, that it is going to be $3,700, and then HVAC, let's say that you have a bid and you're just replacing one unit on the inside, not on the outside. So how this works out is it will calculate the item that's across here, so roof, foundation, electric, plumbing. It'll calculate right here, but then it adds it all up. So you know on your top 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to spend about $9,700 just on your top 5. Then it moves into light cosmetics, and this is already pre-calculated. There's no white to change here, so that your number here is going to be fixed. So you're running about $8,700 on paint and floor throughout the property, and exterior, that's full cosmetics on anything. It's not re-siding the whole house, but if there's some fascia damage or if there's some siding damage, it does include to calculate all that. And remember I said red, white, and blue, so it goes white, and then we're going to skip to this white right here. Same thing, let's say that it's automatically calculating $1,500. The calculator will automatically calculate $1,500 for light and hardware, but let's say that you're a handyman, you want to do it yourself, and you can do it for $500. And let's say that the calculator is automatically calculating $2,500, but you know that you have a lot of granite and you're going to add more cabinets and that type of thing, so you can just manually change anything that's white, and it will populate over to make your bid more accurate. Appliances, same thing. It automatically is going to do $1,500, but let's say that you're going to use some of your appliances from your rental, and you only need a new stove or something like that. So you can manually change anything in the white, but keep in mind that it will only go on the calculator if there's a 1 in the box. So, for example, where the pool is right here, it says 5,000, but there's no 1, so there's no 5,000 here, and no matter what I change it to, it won't populate because there's no 1 here. If I put a 1 there, then it will populate over to the total price of the house. So you go through, you do red, 1s are yes, 0s are no. You do white, you can manually change anything that you know the price of. Otherwise, it will auto-populate it. And then we're going to go to the blue. So the blue section is just this section right here. It's quantity, and it's pretty easy. So how many electric outlets do you have? I put some presets in here because a lot of houses will have 30 or 50 or something like that. Let's say that you count them and you have 44. So it's going to shoot you over and tell you how much it's going to be to replace the actual electrical outlet and put a new cover, new switches on your this particular house. The fence, it's done by linear foot, and you can always check on the little red square up in the middle of the triangle. It says price per linear foot. So let's say I have 10 linear feet. It's going to be $208 for that. And here again, it's just an estimate. This is not an official bid. This is just to get you close, so when you're making your bid, you're a little bit more accurate. Window panes, let's just say that you have 1 window pane to fix, but you're going to fix the 3 windows in the front. So all I'm doing is manually changing how many windows it's going to be, and then it will automatically populate my price. Exterior doors, let's do both of them. Garage door. On this particular house, let's just say that there's 1 double garage door. They're about the same price for a single and a double. There again, if you're $500 high or $500 low, this is just to try to get you close on where you need to be so you can make your offer appropriately. And you can use this while you're at a house. If you have Excel spreadsheet, you can use it while you're at a computer, while you're analyzing the property. It's a pretty good tool. Going down to this next one right here. How many bathrooms am I going to remodel? Let's just say this is a 3-2, so I got 2. If it was an extra bathroom, I would put a 3 right there. Not 32. But let's just say that this is a 2-bedroom or 2-bathroom. And then I'm just going to go down to my next one. By that, I mean my next one right here. I have baseboards. Let's say this house, I'm going to do a lot of baseboards, and I'm going to do the full living room, maybe 1 bedroom. So I have 300 feet of linear baseboards. So you just go down, and anything that's blue, you go through. And let's say this house is a hoarder house, and I'm going to have a lot more trash. So I put 5 bins of trash out there. And it's going to calculate automatically going down. So I'll calculate the top 5. I'll tell you the top 5, and then I'll do a running total of the normal cosmetics and then more major cosmetics, and it'll run it to a total all the way to right here. So what this number here is, that 15,000 is everything in this column. This 8,700 is everything in this column. This 9,750 is everything in this column. And then it will add it all together at the very end. So it says that this rehab is going to run you roughly 34,000. These are using our prices and about where most general contractors are going to be. Obviously, if you did the work yourself, or if you hired out some work that was a little bit cheaper or something like that, that number's going to change. We're just trying to get you close. And then I have a grace budget. I always recommend that no matter who's doing your rehab, you calculate for a little extra, because there probably will be uh-ohs and things that are found during the rehab. I have 10%, which is an extra $3,400. You should probably budget for this particular house $37,604. And that's calculating if you're going to do everything, you know, the couple windows, the doors, the garage door, all of it. The numbers never lie, and they are pretty accurate. And that is the 5-minute calculator that I teach in 10 minutes. It will take you about 5 minutes to work it. Once you get into it, it's just the first couple times it's going to take you a minute to figure out how it works. At this time, I do want to open up to general discussion as far as if you have questions about remodeling or if you have questions about the calculator.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ron. So just kind of to recap, if you guys have any questions, feel free to use the chat box. Let me
This guy over here.
so we don't have the echo. Use the chat box to ask any questions in rehabs in general. Ron has a lot of experience, hundreds of projects, so I highly recommend you guys use him as a resource, not just now, but also, give him a phone call under Renovation Gurus. You can see that there's a phone number here. Give him a call if you have any questions. Just kind of to recap, there are 2 tabs on this rehab calculator. The first tab has rule of thumb that gives you the general rundown. Just a very, very quick number on how much it might cost to rehab a property to different grades, and then the 5 minute rehab calculator. You're just basically going down, you know, red, blue, and white, red, white, and blue, step by step. Just fill it out, and it'll give you a very good number. This is a really good resource if you think about, just looking into investment properties. A huge challenge is how to come up with a rehab budget before you place an offer. So this is going to solve you that problem. And once you got the property under contract, it's time to call the renovation gurus. These guys are going to give you a more accurate quote. So Ron, I got one first question here. What is the typical grace budget percentage that will work for most rehabs? You got 10% there. Oops. 1 second. 1 second, Ron. Let me unmute you.
How about that?
There we go. All right, Ron. You're on again.
So it depends upon the amount of rehab that the property needs and how seasoned you are. So it's one thing you don't want to do is give yourself so much grace budget that you never buy a house. Like if you gave yourself 100% grace and you had a $20,000 budget, now you tack another 20,000, you're probably gonna have a hard time buying houses because you're gonna tighten that number a lot. In general, on my own personal houses, I typically do 10%. On a newbie investor, or somebody who wants to go overboard on the house because they want to fix it to their likings and not necessarily what the house needs to be, then probably 15%. If you went anything more than 15, if you were like 20, 25, 30, that would be way too much. I think 5, 10, 15 would be a good number, but it's going to be based upon your house and it's going to be based upon your experience. Now, the only exception to that is if the house needs a lot of work. Like if it's an historic house and you're at a $250,000 budget, which that's not typically a first-time buyer's house. You might want to have maybe not a percentage, but maybe a $50,000 grace budget or a $35,000 grace budget, because once you get into the higher end rehabs and the more expensive rehabs, a lot of things can go wrong. So that would be the only exception. But in general, 10 or 15%.
Thank you, Ron. I got another question. Do you provide this sort of rehab budget quotes in a real case, and how much would that cost?
So our bids, if you call us, are free. I prefer that you would have a property under contract in your option period before you called us, and we give a very, 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 very detailed bid that you can. It's just really easy to read. We'll break down, say, the kitchen. We'll break it down to granted how many linear feet of the backsplash, how many tiles, how many square feet of the tile. We'll put a drain in there, a tube for the dishwasher, the dishwasher, the garbage disposal. It's very, very, very detailed in our bids. You should get a detailed bid if you're using any contractor, but our bids are free and they're insanely accurate. Insanely accurate. So if you want to bid, just call the 855 number that's on the spreadsheet, or you can also call me on my cell phone at 817-566-4346. But this number here is the best number to call if you're going to get a bid. And then one of our guys will come out and help you out and try to get you a bid as quick as we can.
Fantastic. Which area in Texas do you typically work in?
So for the renovation side, we try to stay in the four major counties of Dallas, which is Dallas County, Denton County, Tarrant County, and Collin County. Depending upon the job, we would go a little bit out of the way, say a little bit of Johnson, a little bit of Ellis, maybe Kaufman, something like that. Best case scenario, just give us a call, say, hey, can you do something like this? Is this something you want to do? Do you go that far? We are growing rapidly, and so our radius is getting bigger and bigger pretty much every day because we're getting more crews, more teams, and I have more guys to help assist with bids. So
Great. That's great to hear. Ron, thank you so much. Just as a reminder, guys, we have a class with Ron in 2 weeks on the 26th,
yep.
6 p.m. in our Addison office. The topic of the class is don't let your contractor eat your lunch. So it's going to be a really, really good topic. We're going to we're going to spend about 10 minutes to go over this rehab calculator again if you would like to a refresher. especially after you have received this calculator and you're playing around with it. If you have any questions, Ron's going to be there to answer any of your questions. So thank you so much, Ron. Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thank you, sir. You all have a great night.
If you have any more questions, go ahead and write down Ron's phone number and feel free to call him on any additional questions there. So thank you guys. This is the end of our training session today, and we would love to have you guys back again in 2 weeks.